In the digital sprawl of Los Angeles, where millions of stories unfold every day, a new kind of leader was quietly emerging, one who would use the power of social media to protect her community. Tatiana Martínez, known online as @Tatiana Martínez _02 to her 37,000 TikTok followers, became a vital voice for the city's Spanish-speaking immigrants. Her account wasn't just another feed. It was a beacon for those living in the shadows, searching for guidance and hope. She wasn't chasing trends or viral dances. Instead, Tatiana was warning her community about ICE raids, posting real-time updates on agent activity from East LA to the Valley. Her posts were urgent, direct, and often the first alert many families received. Her platform quickly became a lifeline, offering not just information but solidarity, encouraging people to know their rights, connect with legal resources, and stand together in the face of fear. She organized virtual quandas, shared stories of resilience, and built a network of trust. But her activism drew backlash. The more visible she became, the more she was targeted by those who saw her work as dangerous. Far-right accounts accused her of doxing agents and obstructing law enforcement, painting her as a threat to public safety. Online trolls flooded her comments, and some even tried to intimidate her offline. Despite the hostility, Tatiana's posts were shared widely, discussed in family chats, and acted upon by those just trying to get through the day. Her updates became part of daily life for many, a thread of connection in uncertain times. She gave a face to the anxiety that permeates immigrant life in America, showing the world the constant vigilance and fear that so many endure. Her work showed the power of community and technology in the fight for dignity, and how one person's courage can inspire thousands to stand up for themselves and each other. But as Tatiana's influence grew, so did the risks. That fight for justice and safety would soon arrive at her own front door in the most brutal way imaginable, testing everything she believed in. On August 15th, 2025, Tatiana's home parking garage became the stage for a dramatic confrontation. Bystander videos captured her white Tesla boxed in by an unmarked vehicle, just like the ones she'd warned about. Plainclothes ICE agents surrounded her, their intentions clear. The garage, usually mundane, was suddenly charged with tension and threat. Agents approached aggressively, demanding she exit the car. For Tatiana, the threat she'd exposed online was now inches from her window. Even as chaos erupted, a parking tow truck nearly towed the ICE vehicle, a surreal detail in a scene that upended ordinary city life. As the standoff began, Tatiana's voice was calm, steady, even in the face of flashing lights and the tense energy that filled the street. She didn't shout or panic. Instead, she tried to keep the situation from spiraling out of control, hoping her composure might influence the officers outside her window. She told agents she'd cooperate, but wanted to understand what was happening. Tatiana asked for clarity, seeking answers about why she was being stopped and what the officers wanted from her. Her tone was respectful, but she was firm. She wanted to know her rights and the reasons behind the sudden confrontation. She refused to immediately exit, asserting her rights. Tatiana explained that she was not resisting, but she needed to be sure her safety would be respected. She reminded the officers that she was entitled to legal protections and that she would comply once she understood the situation. The agents' patience snapped. Their approach turned aggressive. The calm dialogue quickly gave way to raised voices and sharp commands. The officers, no longer willing to wait, signaled to each other and moved in with force. They opened her car door and dragged her out, the situation escalating from tense words to violent action in seconds. The transition was sudden. One moment Tatiana was speaking, the next she was being pulled from her seat, her pleas drowned out by the chaos. The footage is jarring. Tatiana pulled from her car, pinned to the concrete. The camera shakes as bystanders react, capturing the confusion and fear in the air. Her struggle is visible, her voice now muffled by the weight of bodies pressing her down. No negotiation, no de-escalation, just force. The officers made no attempt to calm the situation or listen to Tatiana's concerns. Their only response was physical, overwhelming her with sheer numbers and strength. An agent pressed a knee to her head and neck, drawing instant outrage and comparisons to infamous cases of police brutality. The crowd's shock was palpable, their shouts echoing the horror of witnessing such a familiar, devastating scene. The power imbalance was stark. Tatiana, once a voice for others, was now physically silenced. Her words, which had once carried through rallies and meetings, were now stifled beneath the weight of authority. Her arrest was a raw display of the force federal authorities can wield against dissent. In that moment, the message was clear. Even a calm, reasoned voice could be met with overwhelming power, leaving the community to grapple with the consequences. Bystander videos transformed Tatiana's arrest from a private ordeal to a public outrage. The raw, shaky footage spread rapidly across TikTok, X, and Instagram, her own community fueling the viral wave. Hashtags like #FreeTatiana trended within hours as activists and civil rights groups demanded answers. The videos showed chaos, Tatiana's pleas, agents' commands, and the violent extraction from her car. These images resonated with a public already sensitive to police brutality. Suddenly, people everywhere were invested in her fate, not just an activist, but a woman overpowered in her own home. The emotional impact turned a local incident into a national conversation about immigration enforcement and civil liberties. The cameras ensured Tatiana would not disappear quietly. The violence of the arrest quickly took its toll. Tatiana reportedly lost consciousness while being restrained. What began as an enforcement action became a medical emergency. Paramedics arrived, shifting the scene from law enforcement to urgent care. Bystander footage captured her being loaded onto a stretcher, still handcuffed, a visual that struck many as cruel. She was transported to White Memorial Hospital, her fate uncertain. The public outcry intensified. It was no longer just about the arrest, but about her health and safety. The force used had caused real, visible harm. After her hospital admission, news about Tatiana was scarce. Her supporters waited anxiously for updates. The next day she was discharged, but not released. Instead, she was transferred directly into federal custody. Her exact location was unconfirmed, and her legal team had limited access. The lack of transparency fueled fear about her well-being and the conditions of her confinement. In less than 24 hours, Tatiana went from free citizen to detainee, her voice silenced by the system she'd fought to expose. The fight for her freedom now moved from social media to courtrooms and detention centers. Her story became a chilling example of how quickly lives can be upended by immigration enforcement. The community she served was left in suspense, waiting for news. Tatiana's arrest was part of a larger crackdown, Operation Trojan Horse, ICE's aggressive campaign across Southern California. The operation targets not just criminals but street vendors, day laborers, and families, ordinary people trying to survive. Raids are public and disruptive, creating a climate of fear. The human cost is real. In Monrovia, a day laborer died fleeing an ICE raid. Tatiana's work directly countered this campaign, undermining its reliance on fear and surprise. Her arrest was a strategic move to neutralize a key voice and send a message to others. It showed that no one, not even a well-known influencer, is safe. The crackdown is about more than enforcement, it's about silencing resistance. Her story is a warning to all who dare to speak out. Tatiana's arrest sent shockwaves through the network of immigrant rights activists and influencers. Fear spread. Accounts that once posted ICE alerts went silent, others scrubbed their profiles. The risk of being targeted, arrested, and disappeared became all too real. Authorities used accusations of doxing and obstruction to justify crackdowns, blurring the line between activism and criminality. The chilling effect weakened the community's digital defense, leaving vulnerable people with fewer resources. By making an example of Tatiana, authorities hoped to intimidate others into silence. The vibrant network she helped build now faces its greatest test: how to keep fighting when its loudest voices are being silenced. Tatiana's story resonates because it embodies the fears, hopes, and daily struggles of immigrant communities nationwide. Her journey is not just her own. It mirrors the lived reality of countless families who wake up each day uncertain about their future, yet determined to persevere. For many, Tatiana's experience is a reflection of the anxiety that shadows every step, the constant worry that a loved one could be taken away at any moment. She became a symbol, a reminder that even those with a platform, a voice, and a following aren't immune to the machinery of deportation. Her case highlights how the system can reach anyone, regardless of their visibility or support, and how quickly a life can be upended. Her arrest brought the abstract threat of enforcement into sharp focus, turning distant fears into a harsh, immediate reality for her supporters, and for many who saw themselves in her story. It showed the courage required to speak out, and the severe consequences that can follow. Tatiana's willingness to raise her voice, even in the face of danger, inspired others to do the same, despite the risks. The image of her being pinned to the ground is a stark reminder of the state's power over the individual. It's a moment that seared itself into the collective memory of her community, fueling both outrage and resolve. For her followers, her struggle is their struggle, the fight for dignity, safety, and the right to exist without fear. Her story has become a rallying point, uniting people across backgrounds in a shared demand for justice. Her story is a testament to community resilience and the dangers of silencing dissent. It reminds us that when one voice is threatened, many more rise up in response. Tatiana built a shield for her community. Now that community rallies to shield her. Their support is a powerful act of solidarity, showing that no one stands alone in this fight. Her arrest will be remembered not just for its injustice, but for the movement it sparked, a movement that continues to grow, fueled by hope and collective action. The fight for immigrant rights and human dignity continues, louder than ever, echoing in every march, every vigil, and every act of courage that follows in Tatiana's footsteps.